audio on.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good evening. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Board of Health being operated in a hybrid format under Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by telephone 224-501-3412 and access code 236-529-341, or they can join via computer through the town's website. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. As a preliminary matter, my name is Eric Otterson, Chairman of the Board of Health. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda participating remotely are present and can hear me. Remember, when I call your name, respond in the affirmative. Kara Westerman.
I'm here.
And Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
And town officials and employees participating, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Katrina Williams.
Aye.
Tim Pratt. Here. Jordan Brusso.
Here.
Darlene Coyle.
Here.
Please note that each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. And this meeting is also being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Are there any participants participating remotely? Hearing and seeing none, we'll call the meeting to order. So we're looking at number 3. We got approval of minutes from 3/17 of 2025.
We're gonna hold those till next.
Okay, we'll move to next time. And we do have a hearing, a rabies hearing. Is there a motion to open a hearing?
I'd like to make a motion to open the hearing for the rabies vaccination exemption of Lily, who's owned by Connie Vittori of 225 Prospect Street here in Auburn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Ms. Westerman?
Aye.
Ms. Griffin?
Aye.
And Eric Otterson, aye. The hearing is now open.
So, the board has just been given the letter for a rabies vaccination exempt request, and this was a letter that was provided to us by Hillside. The veterinarian, Dr. Campbell, has identified there's a health condition with Lily, 13-year-old beagle. Owned by Ms. Vittori. Apologize if I said that incorrectly. So there is a existing health condition, and they are respectfully requesting that Lily be exempted from the rabies vaccination. And I do believe Jordan has some other information to support this hearing request.
Yeah, we spoke with Amy Contois, our animal control officer, last week. She couldn't make it to the meeting tonight. She does support the veterinary's letter of recommendation, and she was able to point me in the right direction to verify that the dog does have a history since 2018 of being licensed in the town of Auburn, and has had, it also has a history of various rabies vaccines up until this point.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Any board members have any questions? No. All right. Hearing and seeing none, is there a vote?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to accept the rabies vaccination for Lily, owned by Connie Rodatori, here in Auburn.
Is there a second?
Second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Ms. Westerman?
Aye.
Ms. Griffin?
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. The exemption is passed.
Thank you very much.
And entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I make a motion to close the hearing.
Yeah, that's fine. And is there a second?
I second the motion.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Ms. Westerman?
Aye.
Ms. Griffin, sorry.
Aye.
Eric and Mr. Otterson. Myself is an aye as well. Hearing is now closed. Next, we have the proposed cemetery project presentation.
Yes, thank you.
This was carried over from last meeting.
Yes. So as you know, we have a proposed cemetery project and the applicant was at previous meetings, and we have put the applicant in touch with our third-party consultant. So the town consultant is working through with the applicant and the professionals on both sides. I think Jordan has been working hard to make sure that we are staying up to date on the connections. Do you want to just give us a quick update?
With Steve Wright?
Yes.
So our consulting firm, Sanborn Head, is in communication with Ty and Bond, the hired consulting firm for the proposed project. They are consulting on the capping of the illegal landfill at the property, and they have been working to answer the questions, and I believe they sent a formal review earlier this week, and they are working, Ty and Bond is working to get those answers to them and us as soon as they can.
And I think as far as that process, so obviously with the proposed cemetery, it's really kind of two parts. So because the proposed cemetery is going in the area of the landfill, or for a landfill on the same property, they're looking at what the requirements are to what needs to be done in order to make sure that's compliant with all the state requirements under the mass contingency plan. That is my understanding of what they're doing. Jordan and I have worked through the actual cemetery, the proposed cemetery, and in figuring out any concerns that may come up for that, and just getting clarification. So we expect to connect on that. Just having clarification for the private wells that are in the area. We know that we have a private well at adjacent properties on either side of that parcel. So we just want to make sure we have detailed information as to the exact distances, and making sure there's no concern for groundwater contamination. So trying to get that information and working through that. One of the things that I think we do have to talk about, because we're mid-April, and there was discussion about the applicant does have a citizens petition going to town meeting in early May, which is really less than 3 weeks away. We have to get through the review process, and then we also still, as the Board of Health, have to hold a public hearing. Public hearing has to be advertised 2 weeks before we meet. So we are right up against really having enough time to do all of it. So we are at, we're here for the 16th. If the board, were to meet again, in the advertisement, I'm not even sure if the advertisement could be in for as early as Monday, and Monday's a holiday. So you'd be looking at probably the day before town meeting, I think would be the earliest you could meet. And essentially that would be a public hearing to finalize all of the review items, have the public hearing, get the input from the public, and you'd have to make the decision the same night before town meeting. So I wanted to just, kind of identify what the timeline looks like. It doesn't give the board a lot of time to deliberate or ask questions or follow up. So obviously it's up to you, but I want to just like be realistic about what the expectation is. Certainly we want to work with, with the proposal, and we have been. And I think the professionals are in contact, but there's a lot to this.
Yeah. They had another option, right, if we weren't able, I mean, that's tight, that's really
It's
tight.
very tight.
If not impossible. They can still do a citizen's petition with contingencies on town meeting floor, correct, to kind of help their causes? Well,
So they do have a citizen's petition, so it is on the warrant. Their proposal they did submit, and it is on the warrant. So they are moving forward with doing this proposal of the cemetery. But I think the expectation is that, I think, at least as part of the discussion, it was go to town meeting, see if town meeting would approve it, and then put like it conditionally that the Board of Health and
Gotcha.
I think DPW is still working through their review as well. So I think they were thinking originally, that was the discussion that they had early on, to say, we're gonna go to town meeting, we'll ask if they can approve the cemetery, and then just have the conditions whenever it finishes through the Board of Health. But kind of through this discussion, obviously they asked clearly at the last meeting to try to get this approved by the Board of Health before town meeting.
Right.
I mean, there is a lot to it. It does, I mean, I don't know if it could be advertised for Monday, but it would give you literally, it would give you one day to take all that in.
And what day would that be?
It would be the 5th, May 5th, the day before town meeting.
I don't know if I'm available.
And the questions that they're reviewing now, they're strictly related to the landfill part. They haven't even got to like review and get to questions related to the cemetery part.
Well, the cemetery part, that
Or
is,
it's still-
yeah, Jordan and I are working through that.
Okay.
And I think we have an understanding, but again, there's, the landfill is something that is not under our purview.
Okay.
The cemetery, we are familiar with, the laws regarding cemeteries.
Oh, okay.
But
I see.
working through that, again, I mean, we haven't approved a cemetery before, so
Yeah.
we want to make sure it's complete, and we're bringing all the review items to you and
Right.
making sure that
Right. 'Cause- right.
it's thorough.
I see. Yeah, because then we'd have to review all that to make the decision.
Right, I think you,
So-
essentially, if that could even happen, and again, I don't know, personally, we would have to check tomorrow, so, to see if putting in an advertisement as late as tomorrow could even go in for Monday. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't have that
I
answer.
see. Okay.
So if it goes to town meeting under the citizens petition and that gets approved, then they go forward with the project and they would come to us periodically? Or how does that work, like if they do it that way instead of going through this process?
You mean if they do get approved at town meeting?
Yes.
I think what it would have to be is, it would have to be conditional upon the final reviews from the
Okay.
town. So, they've completed the reviews through conservation, zoning, and planning. And obviously, they're going through our process for
Right.
Board of Health and, I believe, DPW.
And
So we would, I'm sorry, just to
Yeah, sorry.
complete that, so we would finish our review, and essentially wrap all of the comments up. We'd have, our consultant, has identified that he will come and present to the board, at, the appropriate time at the next meeting, if we're ready, and provide advisement to the board. So we would wrap up all the comments. We'd have to then decide, do you want to have a public hearing on the same night that you're doing all of that?
Yeah, seems
Yeah.
like a rush.
It does. And do you think, are they concerned that not having our part done would negatively influence the town's, the town petitions, the town meeting thinking? Is that what their concern is, that?
I mean, I think they wanted to, I think they wanted to be through the entire process.
I
but-
know they're, obviously anxious to get this done.
Yeah.
But how would, if we had to do it with a contingency of, we have to go afterwards because of this terrible time, it's a really
Right.
rough time period. How do you think that would negatively affect their chances?
It would, I mean, I think it would, mostly would help them with our approval, but then again, I
Yeah.
mean, the town meeting still has the vote. So, either way, I mean, they have another option
Yeah,
to do it with a contingency, and if they can, and
yeah.
if that passes, and we go along our process, and then once it's approved, then they go
Yeah.
ahead. So,
Because I think it's too tight to do this.
yeah, no, I would agree. So, okay.
And I do think, I did want to let you know that the select board had reviewed the warrant articles on Monday, and this item was brought up. I think the expectation is that, that they would be through the Board of Health process before town meeting could vote to approve it. But again, I can't speak for what town meeting would do, but I would imagine that, maybe there's the possibility that somebody could say, and again, it's
Yeah.
their request,
Right.
it's not our request.
Right.
It's their request to ask the town to approve this cemetery, and, certainly they could ask whatever conditional approvals to follow, that's really, their request.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to take a vote, right? This is more of just kind of an informational
Yeah, this is
thing.
more of an
Yeah.
update. I told you at the last meeting, we would provide updates for you, as we went through the process. I mean, I didn't think it was, I think, there's a lot to it, so
Right.
we want to make sure we're thorough,
Yeah. Yeah.
to make sure everything is looked at.
I would agree. Right, we're continuing the proposed bodywork regulation.
Yes, I apologize. We are working on finalizing our Body Works regulation, but it's not ready for review yet.
Totally fine. And we have a pamphlet here for the townwide cleanup on May 3rd. Yard waste spring schedule as well. I know that's a pretty popular day, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
folks can get rid of a lot of,
Yeah.
the mattresses, I know is the big one. But, yeah, so it's,
Thank you
May
very
3rd,
much.
7:30 to noon. I know I've used it a lot.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it is something, and each year we're trying to expand, so we add something else. So
That's
we've got, really a bunch of different things going on. And then this year, we have the Boy Scouts, or Scout Troop Pack 53, I think is what they are identifying. They're collecting bottles and cans, over at the library. So that's something nice. So we've got something going on at the library. Obviously, we're at fire headquarters. Then we have, paper shredding down at the Heritage,
That's neat.
down at Bank Hometown. It's really, like a really awesome day.
Yeah.
And, it seems like we have more and more interest in volunteers. Last year, I think it was like, I think we were close to like 150 volunteers last year.
Yes.
So it's really nice, so.
Yeah.
And this is a Chamber and Town of Auburn collaboration, so it's really nice.
We have a, animal control is doing a pet vaccine clinic on May 31st. That's gonna be here at Town Hall. All towns are welcome, it says, and that's 9 to noon. And they're also doing rabies, distemper, parvo, combined vaccine, and also microchipping.
So this is really, really nice. The last time we had a clinic like this was before COVID. So
Oh, wow.
it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And it's really like very helpful to the residents, so they, you know, if you go, anybody goes to the vet, you know that you pay like a lot more at the vet for the
Yeah.
vaccines and the whole exam. So this is a nice way to help people that may not be able to afford a full vet, but it still gives the pet the protection of a rabies. And then we also have the town clerk is actually gonna join us that day, so if people get a rabies shot for their dog, she's gonna be there and she will provide licensing. So try to make it as easy as possible for people to take care of all the requirements for their dog.
It's a great idea.
I apologize, I just want to go back to the solid waste and recycling. The NEDT Household Hazardous Waste Program mailer, the residential flyer here, this is going out in our solid waste and recycling bills. This, I believe it starts in June. So they are, NEDT is offering a credit of $85 for cost of disposal. So residents are able to dispose of hazardous materials if they bring it to NEDT to keep it out of the curbside waste stream. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that will be going out as a mailer with our bills.
It actually, I think, it got moved up, so you might actually see the mailer this week.
Oh, great.
So you'll see the mailer, and then each household is able to get that $85 once a year. So watch for the mailer, it's nice.
Okay. Any open cases, communicable diseases, left in the neighborhood report at all?
That came from the nurse today. And then while you're reviewing that, we also, Colleen, our solid waste coordinator, just put out the spring yard waste collection dates. So those are on the website as well.
And I see that there's also, again, still free COVID test kits available in all the town meetings, buildings, if folks would like them. And anything else? Any board members have anything? No?
Thank you so much.
All right. Hearing, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Ms. Westerman?
Aye.
Ms. Griffin?
Aye.
And Eric Otterson, aye. Meeting is adjourned.